In this webinar, we will cover one of the new forms that is an Excel document for non-disaster preparedness grants. It is the required documentation. You should be familiar with all of these forms. They're just now in one Excel file. This will apply to all three non-disaster preparedness grant programs, HSGP, EMPG, and HMEP. To begin, I'm going to show you where you can access this form. By now, hopefully you've already watched the YouTube videos and followed along and completed your application as best you can. I am in a sample application project. In the application itself, where there are different forms, I haven't bothered to complete those, but at this point, yours is probably complete. I'm going to show you in the bottom right-hand corner over here is a section called Document Templates. And you're going to be looking for the document template that's called Required Documents. You can select this template by clicking on it. Depending on your web browser, you may get a question pop-up that asks if you want to open or save it. I recommend saving it to your desktop. So you'll be able to save as you complete it and know where to find it. And then you can click Open. And it will pull up the required documents Excel file, and I encourage you to click Enable Content. As you can see, there are several instructions and a nice chart here that explains which of these tabs you're going to need to complete for each one of these programs. As you can see, tabs 1 through 5, all three grant programs, you're going to need to use this. So we're going to start with showing you how to complete this first form, which is the contacts section. It's very important that you get this part right because these names populate the rest of these tabs. So I'm going to show you first for EMPG what you need to put in here, and then I'll move on to an example for HSGP and HMEP. So again, this is specifically for EMPG, how you would fill this out. You're going to type in the applicant organization. And in here, you're going to type in the coordinator's name and make sure it is the EMA coordinator. They are the primary contact for EMPG. You'd fill in the phone number. You'd enter the email address. If there's an alternate contact, perhaps there is an assistant or a deputy coordinator or someone else in the office that's going to be working on the grant and submitting things in EM grants. Their name needs to go in here, along with their contact information and email address. If there's an additional person, you can fill that in. For EMPG, the authorized official is going to be your Emergency Management Commission Chair. Chairperson, or it could say EM Commission Chair, whatever the case is, but it should be your Emergency Management Commission Chair. It's just linguistics if you want to do chairperson instead of commission chair. Phone number and email. All right, then you're going to click Save. And these names are going to input automatically populate into the rest of these tabs where appropriate signatures are needed. So because this is a global form for our 3 grant programs, I'm going to take a quick timeout from EMPG, and I'm going to bring up the HSGP example that I've done. For HSGP, which would be Homeland Security Grant Program, the applicant organization would match with what is in EM grants, like, for example, Sioux City Fire Department. The primary contact for HSGP needs to be the primary contact, the person that HSEMD will be communicating throughout the life of the grant cycle with. That is the primary contact for HSGP. Any alternate contacts can be listed here that would be communicating on the grant or have signing authority. They can be listed here. The authorized official for HSGP would be that elected official or executive officer. So in this case, for Sioux City Fire Department, it's the city manager. So that's an example of what you would need to put in the contact section for HSGP. Then you would follow the other tabs and complete tab 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for HSGP. All right, I'm going to switch gears and pull up an HMEP example, the Hazardous Materials Grant. You're going to complete tabs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. So in your contact section for HMEP, you're going to type in the applicant organization, likely the LEPC. The primary contact would be that point of contact who HSEMD is going to deal with on a day-to-day basis regarding the grant. And the authorized official is going to be the LEPC chairperson. So make sure you fill that out appropriate for HMEP. And because HMEP has this additional tab 8, real quick, I'll show you that form. It is the assurances for planning and training grants, which you're familiar with. And you'll see it populates a chairperson down here where they'll need to sign and date. So that's the HMEP example. So that's my last diversion to the HSGP and HMEP folks. Now the rest of this scenario, I'm going to use EMPG as the example as we move forward in completing this. You're going to scroll down. That was the contact section and the minority impact statement. You all should be familiar with this. This has been a requirement for several years for any subawards in Iowa. This is where you're completing and answering questions regarding if there would be a unique or disproportionate positive impact, a unique or disproportionate negative impact, or no impact that's disproportionate or unique on minority persons. So for this example, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to use an example of the whole community. Provide the rationale since I answered yes, and indicate which groups are impacted. Click Save. Scroll down. Because I said it would likely have a unique positive impact, likely it won't have a negative impact, and it wouldn't have any impact. I'm going to say no for the final two. And you'll see the name of the authorized representative, which I entered here, Fire Engine, the EMA coordinator, is actually going to show up here. So I'm going to save. And then very quickly, I'm going to print and it's going to print on 2 pages so that I will then be able to sign or get my coordinator's signature there with the date. So I would click print, and I would have that tab done, and I would move on to the next tab, self-assessment. My applicant organization name is going to populate automatically over here. I know I'm in the EMPG grant because that's pulling through. This is tab 2, the risk self-assessment, which you are used to completing. And you're going to need to go through this, every single question, and answer yes or no. These are drop downs. You can easily select yes or no. Make sure you go through and do each one of them, answering yes or no for every single question. Then I would click save and print so that that is with my packet of tabs here that I'm going to do. So I would print this. Again, it would be 2 pages. And I would move on to tab 3, which is the DUNS information. This has always been a requirement. However, there have been several issues within the last few years, challenges where folks' DUNS numbers seem to get changed, or they no longer represent the applicant organization. They may represent a county when it actually needs to be the LEPC or the Emergency Management Agency, or scenarios like that. So we're taking care of that by uploading verification that your DUNS number does match with your organization. So read through the directions there, and you will print off not this document, but a screenshot or an email from DNB, Dun & Bradstreet, verifying that either the business name or the doing business name matches the applicant organization. And I'll show you a completed one of that right now. Something that looks like this, where you have the DUNS number, the company, the doing business as, the physical address that you can upload, and a date that is within the application period. So we know, and you know, that as of the time that you applied, this DUNS number is correct. So moving on to tab 4, which is the designated authorized representative signatures. Again, it's so important that you filled out tab 1, contacts and minority impact statement correct. That contact section is pulling in the information. That's why it's so specific for each of the 3 grant programs, what you need to enter into that contact section, because it's going to pull over to here. So for EMPG, you've got the coordinator, a signature block, someone else in the office that is authorized to sign and submit reimbursement requests, applications, progress reports, those kind of things. Their information is pulling in here. And then, of course, at the bottom is the executive officer or elected official. So in EMPG's case, it is the Emergency Management Commission chair or chairperson, which is populated into here. So I would just click save, come up and print. See that it's going to be 1 page. I'm going to print that out and then get the appropriate signatures for anyone listed. Moving on to assurances. This is the Assurances and Certifications tab. You guys should be familiar with this. It's just in a different format. It has the certification regarding lobbying, the debarment, suspension and other responsibilities, the construction and non-construction program assurances that come from the federal government that we pass down to local applications. Make sure you read through those and understand those. So then you would just click print. This is going to be 3 pages long with signatures. You'll see there's 2 signatures necessary here, both for EMPG. You've got the coordinator as well as the commission chair. Moving on to tab 6. Real quick, I'll back up to tab 1. You'll notice tab 6 is not required for the hazardous materials grant, but it is required for the 2 FEMA, HSGP, and EMPG grants. This is an EHP certification form, which stands for the Environmental and Historic Preservation Compliance. You're going to need to scroll down And there's a question here. The project that you're proposing within your application, does it require an EHP screening form or does it not? You select one of those two, click Save. You'll see there needs to be a signature there. Actually, there's two signatures there, sorry. You're going to click Print, 2 pages long, 2 signatures there with dates. And then we're going to come to an EMPG only. Tab 7 is only for EMPG. Again, you can see that here, tab 7. Only if this is an EMPG application do you need to complete this. This is the eligibility certification because emergency management commissions and agencies are the only eligible applicants for EMPG in Iowa. So when you scroll down, you're going to need to have your commission chair sign this, but also indicate how many hours per week on average towards the emergency management effort you work, whether it's 20 to 31 or 32. So if you and your commission chair are on the same page, you can fill that out, click Save, Print, and then you know that the commission chair is going to sign it and verify that that is indeed the 32 hours per week and that they've read through and certified that you are indeed an eligible commission to receive EMPG. So you would print that and get that signature. So you can see how you want to make sure you have gone through this step by step in one setting, hopefully, where you start with tab 1, make sure you are diligent in completing the contact section, and then go through the rest of it and print as you go and save as you go. So by the end, you have a stack of paper that you're going to get appropriate signatures on, and then you're going to scan and upload it to your computer. And here is an example of a completed EMPG, completed application required forms. So you see, I've got the contact section down. Here's the minority impact statement with signature and date, and answers were completed. Scrolling down to the tab 2, which is the risk self-assessment, you can see I've completed yes, no for all of those. There is no signature for that part, no signature required. Moving on to the Done's tab, I printed this page just to remind myself that I needed to attach the documentation, which is on the next page. It's current with the correct DUNS number, company name, physical address. Here's my designated authorized representative form that is signed by all the applicable parties that are necessary. So that is complete. The assurances and certifications form, that's that 3-page form. I've got the commission chair and the coordinator signatures in here. Here's the EHP, and make sure one of these check boxes is checked. And then you have the appropriate signatures here. And then this tab, tab 7, is specific only to EMPG. It's the eligibility certification. And I verify that I have a check mark in one of those two, and I have the appropriate signature here. So all of this is scanned as one document for EMPG, should be 13 pages. I've got it saved to my computer, and I'm going to show you how then to upload it with your application. Make sure you are in the application, and down below here, you're going to click Uploaded Documents. You can click Add Document, choose File, and then to upload, you're going to click that document and click Open. And then you're going to move down here and say it's an application form and click Upload. That will get submitted with your application. Another location here, Uploaded Documents, where you can click Add Document. You can also go over here to Documents, and you can add it there too. If you add it in one place, it's going to add it in the other. But if you, for whatever reason, upload the wrong one, from this section is where you can delete it. And that can be important for certain applicants. So there you have it. That is the required form and how you complete it for all 3 non-disaster grant programs.